Welcome to episode 9 of Overtime with Jared P. and Johnny O. We have a packed show. We're going to get into it in just 1 second. We just want to thank our title sponsor, Tee It Up Indoors. Over 120,000 different simulated golf courses, rain or shine. You can go in. Great for parties, great for friends, great for corporate events. Just great for any day. Any golf course that's ever been developed in the world, you can play it. And you can check them out in Greensboro. Tee It Up Indoors. We have the information on our social media as well. All right, Johnny O, we're going to do Power Five, NFL Power Five. We're going to talk a little bit about the World Series, catch of the day, back-breaking play of the day or week, our top four college football teams, and then how our Heisman hopefuls are doing. We selected our top three Heisman hopefuls and see if they're still on track. Turn over to you, Johnny O. Your NFL Power Five.
All right, the Power Five. It's been interesting every week, and it does change quite a bit. But my number five this week, I'm bringing back the Buffalo Bills. They look pretty good. Josh Allen. He's got Amari Cooper on his team now. Boy, that was quite a nice little trade that they made the day after the Jets got Devontae. That was some good NFL stuff going on last week. But with Amari Cooper, that adds that superstar, and I'm hoping Amari just accepts his role, and I think they'll be fine. But the key to Buffalo right now, they're winning, they're playing good football, and they're not turning the ball over. If the Bills don't turn the ball over, they're going to be right in the hunt for the big game, to be honest with you. My number four team is the Minnesota Vikings. I know they got beat, but boy, did they get beat by maybe the best team in the league, but that game could have went either way. Sam Darnold is still playing very, very well.
Yeah.
They should, they could have won that game. It came down to a field goal in the last second. So they're very much still in the hunt. I mean, there's a few teams that, it's hard to pick who would win it all right now, but Minnesota's my number four team. Number three, Baltimore. Run, and run again. As long as they stay healthy, like we've been saying, Lamar and Derrick Henry, they keep doing their thing. I dropped them from number 2 to number 3 this week, only because Detroit looks terrific, man. Number 2 is my Detroit Lions, and a very avid listener. He has listened to every one of our episodes so far. my buddy Tom Bloomer is a Detroit Lion fanatic. I mean, every time I see him, he's got Lion apparel on, even for work hours. So I'm happy for him. But now that I'm watching this team and kind of following them because of Tom, this team is great. Oh my gosh, Jared Goff is running that team like a magician, and their defense is fine. They gave up some points to Minnesota, but they're my number 2 team, and I almost put them number 1. These number 2 teams, we've been wanting to put number 1, but when you got Kansas City still winning, they're 6-0, even though Patrick, listen to his stats, and I'm sure you know him, 6 touchdown passes, 8 interceptions this year, and they're 6-0. I mean,
Yeah.
that's unheard of. But the man knows how to win. He makes the plays when they need him the most. That's why they keep winning 6-0. Did you see that run he made? That 33-yard run that was just dazzling.
Yeah, they thought he was going to go out of bounds, and he just kept going. He has that. He's so much smarter than every other quarterback.
He really is.
I mean, every little advantage that he has, he takes advantage of it, and even though by his numbers, he's not a Pro Bowler this year. He's not an MVP candidate talk, but his team is undefeated. Which is remarkable.
But I mean, the thing with him, every time I watch him play, and I know you did this because you know how you play out in the backyard, with when you're a kid, or the dad is the all-time quarterback or whatever. He reminds me of that guy, man. That quarterback in the backyard. He plays like he's playing other kids in the backyard and does his thing. I mean, he is so much fun to watch. He really is. So Casey's number one. Until they get beat real good. I mean, they beat it. They beat San Francisco, who's down right now, but they're still San Francisco, and it was in San Francisco. I count that as a big win for KC. So they are my numero uno for this week.
Well, I disagree with one or two of yours. We somewhat similar. My Power Five, we should just call it the instead of the NFL Power Five, it's just the NFC North Power Five. I have three NFC North teams in the
Woo!
Power Five. And I had Buffalo at six to do a Johnny O thing. But at number five, Green Bay, 5-2. They beat a good Houston team 24-22. And that's with Jordan Love, who's not at full strength. He's not after hurting his ankle, he's not where he was last year. And so I only see that improving. He had two interceptions. They still beat a very good Houston team. And one of their losses came without him, or maybe both their losses actually came without him, or he got hurt in the middle of the game and then the next game.
Yeah,
So
Philadelphia
that's
beat him when he got hurt toward the end
right.
of that game. Yep.
Your Eagles can't win a fair fight, and it's fine. At number four, and the only reason I cannot move them up further, the Baltimore Ravens at 4-2,
Wow.
they had a bye week, is they have one of the worst secondaries in the NFL. And again, in a passing league, and when you get into the playoffs with all elite quarterbacks, that to me is concerning. However, if they can control the clock with running the ball with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, who to me, this is his year where he's been the best in the pocket as well, that they can limit possessions for the other team, and that will be um, to their benefit. So I'll leave that at number four. Number three, the Minnesota Vikings, like you said, a close loss to Detroit, 31-29. They've avoided turnovers up until this point. They had a key fumble in the game, and then Sam Darnold threw a ill-advised pass that was eventually picked off. Not a he didn't have a terrible game, but those two turnovers cost them that game because they've been playing mistake-free football, and they don't have to play mistake-free football because they are a balanced team on offense and defense. But you make mistakes, and that's how you end up losing a game. But they're 5-1, obviously one of the last teams to lose. At number two, I'm starting to become a believer, Johnny O. The Detroit Lions.
Yep.
Jameer Gibbs, I like the fact that, like you said, Jared Goff is having an MVP type season as far as the way he's orchestrating that offense. Although the QBR is still low, I don't understand that. Anyway,
No,
Jameer Gibbs.
his rating went way up. I
Okay,
checked
good.
it. Yeah, way up. Or is it the QBR or the other? The quarterback rating. He's number one right now because
Yeah,
he
his
has to be. He went 22 for 25 yesterday.
yeah his like the passer rating is always, which is like his 158.3 is the max, but is yeah he's number one in that. But then QBR he's like in the
You're
20.
right.
That doesn't make that I don't get. But like
Yeah.
we said last week, the eyeball test shows that he's elite. And Jameer Gibbs, 116 yards, two touchdowns on the ground. That balanced attack and Ace, Hutchinson out. He said he might come back towards the end of the year. Maybe we'll see. The defense, that was a pretty high scoring game, but they seem to be able to pull that out on the road.
But
By the way,
let me ask you this: did you have any thoughts of maybe putting them number one this week?
yes, until Kansas City played.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I
Yeah,
mean, man. I mean, they're right there.
they're right. I mean, you beat one of the two remaining undefeated teams on the road. Yeah, I mean, I thought, but then you, like you said, Kansas City 6-0, and there's 28-18 against San Francisco in San Francisco. I believe San Francisco is coming off a bye, if I'm not incorrect there. And who is Patrick Mahomes throwing to? He has Travis Kelsey, and then a bunch of bums. I mean, he
Yeah,
probably wouldn't call them bums. I mean, Rasheed Rice is out. You have Hollywood Brown is out. You have Smith Schuster out, and
yeah,
you're
that's true.
still I mean, seriously, and the fact that who would have thought they'd be relying on beginning of the season, Kareem Hunt and Noah Gray. No,
Yeah.
Noah Gray, I thought that's a top 40 artist. I don't know who Noah Gray is. But anyway, 6-0, that defense is the best defense to me in the NFL because you can't score against them.
You can't. I never thought we would be saying Kansas City has the best defense in the league.
Yeah, and Patrick Mahomes has, like you said, 6 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. That's crazy to me. Kansas City's still the best team, and
Yeah.
they haven't put their offense together. And also, by the way, forcing 3 Brock Purdy interceptions. And Brock
Ooh.
Purdy usually is good game manager. I know you like me called that, and doesn't usually turn the ball over, but 3 picks. So yeah,
Yeah.
that'll win you a lot of ball games. All right, let's thank our sponsors. We're going to get into the World Series real quick. 336 Realty for all your home buying needs. 336realty.com. I've used them for multiple homes that I've bought and sold. Their agent Ryan Carney, he's really great. So 336realty.com. Surf Hippie Fishing, the fishing apparel, gear that you need, fishing rod holders and so forth. They have the carts, everything you need. Surfhippiefishing.com. Um, I know you've got some friends that you brought on here as well.
We got Imperial Marketing Solutions, my man Jimmy Snow up in New York. They specialize in sales of reconditioned Dell, IBM, and HP IT hardware. Again, call this guy, call Jimmy if you need a laptop, like yourself, maybe, Jared. You're struggling with your laptop. He might be the answer, but call him. He's waiting for your call, 315-345-8349. Tell him Johnny O sent you, and he will take good care of you. Imperial Marketing Solutions. And my other buddy here in Greensboro, Estate Jewelry and Loan, Brian Demore, good friend. He says people are talking about gold because it's at an all-time high. If you need to sell your jewelry, diamonds, watches, or coins, my good friend Brian will give you trusted advice and personalized service, helping you maximize your payout. Go to Estate Jewelry on 2511 Battleground Ave. You can find them on go to Google and you can find them at estatejewelryloan.com. Estatejewelryloan.com. He will take care of you. I've actually sold a couple little items to him, and he gives top dollar.
That's great. And then, of course, we can't miss Elite Performance Chiropractic, 2 locations in the Triad. The chiropractor there, I should say, is former NFL player Jeremy Phillips. He's great, and they do a great job. I know people have gone to him, and they say they feel like a new person. So, Elite Performance Chiropractic in Greensboro and Winston Salem. All right, the World Series has been set. Johnny O, you're the baseball guy. I'll give you 30 seconds. Just kidding. Go ahead.
Well, thank you very much. But not really the teams I wanted in it from the beginning of the season for many reasons, because I'm a Boston Red Sox fan. But it's been an incredible playoff season so far. If you haven't watched any, which I know you probably haven't, it's been unbelievable, Jared. Seriously. Yankees and Dodgers, it comes down to. Major League Baseball is loving this. East and against the West. I mean, the television audience is going to be fantastic. Like Major League Baseball needs to make more money, right?
Right.
But they are the 2 best teams this year, without a doubt. They got. I'm just going to say, each team has these 3 hitters on both squads here. You got, well, first of all, you got Aaron Judge versus Shohei Ohtani. That's theater in itself, man. I mean, that's all that people want to watch. Those 2 are the big guns. But both teams have 3 hitters. Yankees got, if you're a pitcher and you're going against Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, and Giancarlo Stanton, that is frightening. Okay, I was the pitcher, and if you know those 3 guys are coming up the next inning, you're scared to death. But the Dodgers have about the same, almost the same. Dodgers have a Mookie Betts, who's always an MVP candidate, Freddie Freeman, who's always an MVP candidate, and of course Shohei Ohtani. So those 3 kind of, I'm thinking, cancel each other out. So it's going to come down to pitching, and I'm gonna give the edge to the Dodgers. And it's probably because I'm an anti-Yankee guy, but I'm gonna go with the Dodgers, and my pick is the Dodgers in 6. The Yankees do not get number 28. They got 27 world championships, okay, dating back to the 1400s, according to the Yankee fans. They haven't been to the World Series since 2009. They're not going to get 28. Dodgers in 6, and I'm putting my money on that one. So it's going to be a hell of a series. Jared, watch a little bit of it. At least watch Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani bat. It's a thrill, man. It really is.
Yeah, I guess as the WNBA's over, I'll I'm kidding.
I
No, I always do watch the World Series, and like you said, Major League Baseball, as far as the TV markets, this is what they want: the
Oh,
two biggest TV markets. Although media has changed, where the clips and social media aspect of it, but you still have the two biggest markets and two historic franchises. Based on knowing very little about this baseball season, I'm going Yankees in 5.
oof, wow.
You already owe
Uh,
me a lunch. You want to do another bet?
do we do a double or nothing?
Let's do double or nothing.
Mm, betting against the Yankees. Double or nothing. You got it.
All right. And I
So
mean,
we're
just
we're
who
just
wins, not
who
five or
wins the
seven.
series? No, it
That's it.
doesn't matter what games. You got it. All
And
right.
I don't. And by the way, I freaking hate the Yankees, so this is gonna be tough. All right, let's go to our back-breaking play of the week. That's powered by Elite Performance Chiropractic. You can check them out on our social media, Elite Performance Chiropractic, chiropractor Jeremy Phillips. And mine is a game. And that's when you know your league has taken the next step, when social media erupts about bad officiating. The links of the WNBA on the bad end of terrible officiating in the deciding game in the WNBA finals to the Liberty. It ended up going into overtime, and they lost 67-62. And a lot of calls and a lot of complaints about the officiating actually determined the winner of the WNBA finals. So that's the back-breaking, really, game of the week. But if you want to
Yep,
say a play, there's a few plays here and there, a few bad calls. But that's when your league is starting to arrive, when you start hearing people complain in mass about officiating.
I agree.
And let me jump into our catch of the week, powered by Surf Hippie Fishing, surfhippiefishing.com. They're great. I'm telling you, love them. You got to go to the website. Great gear. I got to go by there this week and get one of their hats and shirts for both of us. But to me, it's not just one catch. I'm doing a Johnny O. I'm doing a more of a,
You're learning.
yeah, summation, like kind of bring a cobbling of things together. But the New York Jets have had a rough season, but their defense is the hallmark of that team. Now, for George Pickens to have 111 yards against that Jets secondary as the Steelers' number one, that's impressive to me. To have 111 yards against the New York Jets, with Russell Wilson coming back, looking great, by the way,
I
looked
was
really
happy for him.
solid.
Yep.
I love Russell Wilson. I don't know. People started hating on him and said he's corny and all that stuff. I never got that.
No, no.
I mean, he
I,
is corny, but it's like, is that the worst thing you could be, especially with professional athletes? Is corny?
no, number one, I'm thinking he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Okay, I mean he's got enough numbers and Super Bowls and all that. And number two, he's just been a classy guy in the NFL. I mean, he was the face of the NFL for a little while. One of the faces anyway. I mean,
Right.
what's a good-looking guy? He dates or he's married to what?
Ciara.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, the guy, give him credit, but he had a tough time in Denver, obviously. But I was happy for him yesterday. And, he plays for the Steelers. Tomlin, is going to work with that guy. And, he is at the end of his career. But I tell you what, he looked good in that second half last night.
Well, and the Steelers, which is unlike the way they've been since Big Ben, the last two games are averaging 39 points per game. That's
Jeez.
very unusual. And that defense is nasty. They had like
Yeah.
one bad game overall. All right, let's move into, and Johnny O, our top four college football teams at this point in the season. We know there's a 12-team playoff. We're aware of that. But who will be in the semifinals and finals, do you think, going forward?
I'm just, when I said, the top four, I wanted to look at the top four that are actually the top four in the rankings, which is Oregon. They're number one now, which is unbelievable. Georgia moved up to number two. Penn State's number three, and Ohio State number four. All the very similar schools every year. They're kind of up near the top. But what I think, there's like three teams that stick out to me that I think can get in that top four. And the reason why we're talking about the top four is, they draw a bye in the playoffs, so they're waiting for that second game. But three teams that really stick out, and that Texas Georgia game. I don't know if you caught any of that on Saturday
Yeah.
night. That was a classic. Texas is still very much could get in that top four. Clemson, I think, is going to sneak in that top four somehow.
I
Man,
told
they're
you.
playing football, man. They
I
really
told
are.
you. Yeah.
And the other team that would knock out Clemson to get in that top four, Miami looks good.
Yeah.
Miami could sneak in there. So those are my three that could sneak into that top four right now. But Georgia and Penn State, they sit at number 2 and 3. I think they're going to stay in that four most of the season till the end. Um, I love this playoff though, because when you lose a game or maybe even two games, you're still in it. You just got to get in that top 12. So it's going to be very
Yeah.
interesting.
Okay, and we send each other topics that we want to discuss, and then we don't go into great detail, so it's up to our own minds. So I like your angle, who could make it in. I took it as of the top. Now, who do I think are the top four, and who do I think will end up winning the national championship? And for me, obviously, you said it: Ohio State's four, Penn State's three, um, Georgia's two, and Oregon is number one in the country. I was born in Oregon. You'd think I'd be an Oregon Ducks fan. I
Really?
don't. Yeah, I don't root against them, but we moved when I was one. So when they do well, I kind of claim them a little bit. But um, so I think Penn State's better than they've been in a long time. I do not see them even making it to the championship game. I don't.
Okay.
Uh, Ohio State gave Oregon all that they could want, right?
Yep.
Those two teams seem more even. So if I had to rank them, I would rank it Penn State 4, Ohio State 3, Oregon 2, and Georgia 1.
Yep.
There's something different. Other conferences are catching up, and then the SEC has expanded. Obviously, all these conferences are getting too big, but there's something different about SEC football in Georgia. Georgia had one bad game this year, and well, Kentucky didn't look good either, but they've
Right.
been fairly dominant. But they handled Texas. I mean, when you force them to bring in Archie Manning, which is a good, I mean, not Archie Manning, the Manning son to come
Arch.
in,
Arch. Yep.
Arch Manning. That's
In the first
saying,
half. In the
yeah.
first half, they
I
forced
mean,
them.
yeah, when you're totally dominating Texas, which I do think is a good team, and every team has, and Georgia's a tough matchup. Georgia made Clemson look like Division 3 school, and
Yeah.
now Clemson has gotten their act together. So I think it's going to come down to Georgia and Oregon in the national championship game. And I think, although my ex and their in-laws are all Georgia fans, and I hate to say it, I think the Georgia Bulldogs are going to win another national championship.
I'd be
Yeah,
okay with that. But yep.
yeah,
I'm still leaning toward Penn State making that championship game, but no, you got to love Georgia, and man, they have been the dominating force the past 3 or 4 years. And when Alabama loses, they barely drop in the ratings. When Georgia loses, they drop 10 spots. When
right.
Alabama beat them, but now they have worked their way all the way back up to number 2. Kirby Smart is the guy, and I agree with you, man. Georgia's the cream of the crop right now.
Yeah,
And
Kirby Smart's the. Oh, go ahead.
while you're talking, SEC teams, there's 9 teams in the top 25 this week. The ACC,
Yeah,
four
and
teams.
that's concerning. All
Oof.
right, let's go. Let's move on to our possible final topic of the day. We selected our top three Heisman hopefuls last week, and wanted, and then kind of give an update if we still think they're on track. Um, yeah, I'll go ahead and go. I had Cam Ward at number three, Travis Hunter as number two from Colorado, and then number one, Ashton Genty of Boise State. And I will move Cam Ward up 1 to 2 and Travis Hunter down 1 to 3. Although, have you seen Travis Hunter is starting to talk trash to about the Heisman Trophy, and him and Ashton Genty are going back and forth. But yeah, I would still give the edge to Ashton Genty. They had a bye week, but his 19 touchdowns already after 5 games, I believe 5 or 6 games, and 1,200 plus yards rushing.
Yep.
He's averaging, like we said last week, 9.9 yards to carry, and they don't have a dominant offensive line. He's impressive, and I really like him. Now, Cam Ward in a shootout against Louisville, 52-45. He's the reason they win most of their games. 319 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. And that's the only reason why I don't think that they'll make it that far in the playoff. Because I think they will make the playoff, the 12-team playoff, is because they look at their games. Most of their games are shootouts. And if Cam Ward has an off game, has one just okay game, they're going to be in big trouble. I mean, he's averaging like 350 yards passing a game, and that's
Yep.
sometimes not sustainable.
Yep. I agree. Um, just a couple things on the Heisman. Ashton Genty. Okay, he was off this past week, but I did not realize Boise State is ranked number 16 in the nation. So
Yeah.
now I'm, with the numbers that he's putting up, which are, remember, I mean, you mentioned all the numbers. It's the 10 yards a carry that blows my mind. That's a first down a carry. I mean,
It's
he's doing.
insane.
So
Insane.
I know he had the week off, but man, he's starting to scoot a little toward the top for me. But I'm still sticking with Cam Ward as my number one right now until Miami, because Miami could run through the ACC no problem. And like you said, 319 yards, 4 touchdowns in a shootout against Louisville. Louisville's always very good. Miami's better stiffen up that defense if they want to continue to win. But this Cam Ward is a stud, and if I had to pick still the Heisman today, it would be Cam Ward. So I'm going to stick with him.
Well, I think yeah, and it's interesting that I think of the top 4 college football teams we discussed, Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, Georgia, there's really not any Heisman hopefuls. Nobody in the top 3. I don't think on anybody's radar. And that's unusual when you have teams that are
Yeah,
vying for it. Not that Miami's not, because so many teams are viable, which we've been calling. I mean, I think any reasonable sports fan has been calling for at least a 12-team playoff for years and years and years. And right now, there's teams with 1 loss. There's some teams with 2 losses that can still make the playoffs. That makes college football so much more interesting. And there's teams, like you said, like Boise State, that can make the top 12 playoff. There's teams like
yeah.
BYU, which is our church school. They're undefeated. They're ranked at 13th right now. And so it just makes college football, more fan bases can be more excited deeper into the season, instead of saying, all right, well, we went 10-1, but we lost in the conference championship of the ACC, so we're not going to be in the top 4. So we're going
Yeah.
to play in the Mayo Duke Bowl or whatever crappy bowl. That doesn't make any sense. So it's just like, yeah, I love it for college football. I think it makes it more exciting. I'm so excited for the 12-team playoff a little bit, well, early into next year.
One guy in that top 4 teams, Oregon, Dylan Gabriel, their
Yeah.
quarterback, is in my top 3. He kind of moved down to the 3 slot, and I moved Ashton to number 2 and kept Cam there. But, if Oregon still continues to do what they're doing, Dylan's going to keep rising up in that Heisman Trophy, rating. So, but that's about it on that. But we do have some big games coming up in college. In closing here, Oregon plays Illinois, who's number 20. Illinois will give them a game, so that's a good test for Oregon. Missouri and Alabama. Missouri is a ranked team that's been playing really good football. Of course, they're in the SEC and ranked, but I tell you what, can Alabama lose another game? I mean, that's going to be a tough game for them after
Yeah.
their second loss. Texas, who just came off a tough loss, I think it looks like they go to Vandy, who beat Alabama. Vandy's number 25 in the nation, but Texas needs to play them. I don't think they're going to have any problem with Vandy. I think Vandy had their championship, win over Alabama. but that could be an interesting game. And I got to give some love to my Syracuse Orange. Come on, man. They're 27th in the nation. You know how you get the top 25 and then teams receiving votes? Well,
Right.
they're number 2 in that. So they're right at 27. And Thursday night they play number 19 Pitt, who's undefeated
Okay.
in a ACC showdown. We win that game, we're in the top 25. I hope, it'd be just nice to see the Cuse back in the 25.
I love only a homer would say my team is ranked number 2 in the receiving votes category.
Oh
I
man,
love it. I do the same. I would do the same. So let me get this right. You're a Syracuse college football fan,
yes,
Boston Red Sox fan.
yes.
Your NFL team is who again?
The Philadelphia Eagles.
Makes no sense. And then what else? Who's your college basketball? Syracuse?
I mean, come on. I mean, you know that, man. We've been
Okay.
harassing each other. Yeah, it's all. Well, I'm all Syracuse. In college, it's all about the orange for
Okay.
sure. But
If
what's the other? That's about it. Yeah, Philadelphia Eagles, the Red Sox. I was a Red Sox fan because of my grandparents, and
okay.
I'm a Met fan too. So being from New York, I am a New York Mets
You
fan
got to
as
pick
well.
one of those teams to cheer for, yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm
Okay,
a little.
just trying to get it figured out. I
I
mean,
hear you. I hear
yeah,
you.
I'm a Carolina basketball and football college fan. I do support BYU because it's a church school and all their
Yep.
sports, but Carolina's my team. And Washington Commanders, although people say, oh, because you live in this area in North Carolina. No, it was because I was may have shared this before. It's the only team I would watch when I was a kid. My dad said I wanted to watch the Cowboys versus the Indians as a kid. That's what I thought it was.
Yep.
And I always cheered for the Indians at the time. And so I've always been that since I was 5 years old. And then, yeah, I don't. I grew up liking the Cubs because I think of WGN,
Oh yeah.
and then
Absolutely.
cheered for the Braves because it was Smoltz, Maddox, all those guys. It was so fun to watch. Glavine. So I watched some. I had some baseball, some Andre
You
Dawson. Yeah,
just threw some nice names there, man. What a pitch! That was the best pitching staff in the world, right there.
they should have definitely won more World Series. Said the one that they won. But anyway, all right. Let's thank our sponsors one more time. Our title sponsor, Tee It Up Indoors, over 120,000 different golf courses. You heard me right. 120,000 different simulated golf courses. Again, Tee It Up Indoors. It's indoors, air conditioning, whether it's hot outside, cold outside, raining. Perfect place to go. Teed Up Indoors. 336 Realty for all your home selling and buying needs. I've used him personally. He's really good. Ryan Carney, 336realty.com. Elite Performance Chiropractic. That said, people said it's changed their life. They do such great work. Jeremy Phelps, former NFL player. And Surf Hippie Fishing for all your fishing accessories, clothing, apparel, fishing rod holders, and more. Tournaments, surfhippiefishing.com. And I know some of your friends.
And then Imperial Marketing Solutions. If you need a laptop or a computer, please call my man Jimmy Snow, or you can see him on our social media as well. Imperial Marketing Solutions and Estate Jewelry and Loan, Brian Demore. If you want to sell any of your jewelry, diamonds, watches, or coins, go see Brian at let's see here at Estate Jewelry Loan. Estate jewelryloan.com. Ask for Brian.
All right, good job, Johnny. And until next time, check us out on all of our social media: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. And if you want to advertise with us, there's lots of options to do that. You can hit us up on there or sportscarolina@gmail.com. Have a good one.
Thanks.